Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time. Like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
The acceptable monster.
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
JayZ is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that.
Right now, Diddy is making headlines for the viral 2016 leaked clip that shows him violently beating his ex, Cassie. Vora, allegedly his close friend and former associate, JayZ, is also accused of being a part of Diddy's inner circle and is cozying up in his defense.
The book is great, by the way.
Thank you very much.
In the book, you also say this. You say we need to have some difficult conversations about hip-hop and how it can be both a positive cultural force and self-destructive. Now, can you explain what you mean by that? And what do you, well, let's start there.
Well, I just think about the influence of hip-hop and, the influence that hip-hop has on culture, the way that we, talk, the way that we walk, the way that we dress, and, just growing up, all the influence that hip-hop had on me. And, I just think that, you have to use that tool of hip-hop, that resource of hip-hop to really, empower people. Like when I look at guys like, Kendrick Lamar with his last album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, or JayZ, the 444 album, I think in the future we're gonna look at those albums and say those are two of the most important hip hop albums of all time because of the topics that they're discussing on there. Like they're talking about, going to therapy. They're talking about, the infidelity that they did and how they're trying to be better men towards their women, and just, the whole journey of healing. Like that's what we should be talking about. Like if you look at the last 50 years of hip-hop, it was almost like we were little boys, and now we're growing into manhood. And in order to continue to have a career, like you do have to grow up.
Yeah. You do.
And I'm not sure if...
Now, this turn of events in the hip-hop community caught everybody by surprise, everybody except for Jaguar Wright. For those of you who don't know, the 47-year-old was a mainstay in the music scene back in the day. She even collaborated with, you guessed it, D'Angelo and Jay Z. But since her last EP in 2019, Jaguar has taken a step back from the music industry, claiming it's because of the ongoing drama and alleged abuse behind the scenes that everyone knows about.
He said, the objective of Bad Boy is to kill talent. We don't want talented motherfuckers at Bad Boy. Talented motherfuckers think they gotta say. Oh, a talented motherfucker will tell you, I'm gonna turn in my album when I feel like it. He said, but see, if we get people with no talent, and then we make them look like stars. See, we have total control. Because without us, they can't be the shit. Oh. He said, that's how we're gonna run this label. And we're gonna run these motherfuckers into the ground and I'm gonna make all of you rich. And that was his fucking pep talk at the Kit Kat Club in 1996 to his interns, who are now mostly executives at Bad Boy.
So that explains making the band, bringing unknowns.
So in case you've been waking up from a deep freeze or, I don't know, a Mars colony mission or something Diddy has been accused of violent crimes against several men and women. There have been rumors about his alleged private parties where he'd supply drugs and alcohol to minors. Then, once everybody was doped up or drunk, either Diddy or someone from his elite circle would swoop in and abuse them. I apologize.
Have you ever been to a P. Diddy party?
Yeah, several. Many, honestly.
And so, can you take us through, like, what goes on, like when you were there?
What did I say when y'all asked me about why was the TD Jakes at the Diddy party?
Yeah.
What'd I say? Money
Right.
and sex.
That's correct. Were you surprised that there were so many cameras in his houses?
No.
That he was recording these?
Of course, he is the J. Edgar Hoover of hip hop.
Okay.
Y'all done seen him put on the pyramid with a skirt?
So let me ask you, when you hear that Cassie was told to hire male escorts to come and what they call freak-offs now.
Yeah.
Is that something normal that happens in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Freak-offs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody know that. I've been saying it.
Yeah.
Lil Rod, Diddy's former associate and a music producer who worked with him on Love, was the one who named names. The music producer lived with Diddy for a year and got to experience the inner workings of the industry firsthand, which changed his life for the worse.
I apologize to anyone this video may be embarrassing to. Let's just jump right into it. Some of you may know me or may not. I'm a music producer who's a writer and musician. Different genres. I started in the gospel and jazz and R&B and worked my way over to the hip hop side. I've been working on an album. I took a year off straight working on this album. That album is the Love album, Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not. Taking this album on has required so much time, months and at a time, 16 hours to 24 hours a day. Sometimes, Diddy will request certain works to be done and tell us don't go to sleep until it's done. And the truth is we'll be up for days trying to accomplish that. I've tried to get my business straight with them on this album, but the truth is they're not playing fair. They hit me on below the belt on so many situations, just dealing with this. It's the contract that they give me and the offer that they gave me was just disgusting. The producer fee, pennies, and on top of that, these guys are trying to steal my publishing. I can't go for that, so I'm fighting back. He's a fighter, but I'm going to put in this fight. I got to do it for myself, my rights, and most.
Not only did Diddy refuse to pay him in the end, but Lil Rod also claimed that it was because he told Diddy he wanted out. Basically, the music mogul wasn't used to people saying no, so he retaliated by attempting to jeopardize Lil Rod's career.
This might have been 10, 12 years ago that I called him and say, I have a family member who I want you to hire them as an intern. And he said, yes. And they were flying around, one of the interns, Atlanta, Miami, whatever, on the jet, in the house, whatever. And then the internship stopped abruptly, like 3 or 4 months into it.
Yeah.
And I spoke to my family member, like, well, what happened? And they wouldn't say. And years later, they finally came out, and this a male, and said that Puff had said, come home, stay the night with me, or the internship is over. And they said, absolutely not. And the internship ended.
I think,
Now, that's just something that Jaguar claims Diddy has done in the past to other industry workers too. She's claiming that Diddy's whole MO was centered around being a music powerhouse, so the only way to the top was through him.
And the girls, and I wish they would tell them the truth. Listen to me. All you got to do is let these 8 fuck the dog shit out of you tonight. I get all that for you tomorrow. Because that's what's going to happen. Like, why can't you be up front? You know?
I didn't believe this until I watched a Nickelodeon documentary where the kids were, basically, I don't want to say groomed, but they were technically assaulted based on saying, hey, here's the contract. They don't tell us up front, but they say, oh yeah, this guy is gay, but he's touchy-feely. They warn you. And on one of the episodes where a father said,
I just want to let you know, before you do this scene, this man is a predator. Okay? If you see something, say something, okay? But nobody wants to hear it. Like the fuck.
To put someone's career on the line. To say, hey,
that's what they
if you don't do this, you're not going to go higher than this.
That's what they do. You know how many times I've heard it?
That's what I was going to ask. You're in the industry.
Yeah.
Did they ever say, "If come in this room, Jack"?
Yeah, I was
let's
told.
get down.
Yeah, I was told.
And you will see some doors open.
I was
for you.
drugged.
This meant that if anybody told him they weren't all in, including illegal activities, then he'd threaten their careers. Yeah, man, Diddy worked on threats and blackmail, according to Jaguar Wright.
What did you know that was going on in the world of Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, that the world didn't know? What did you know back then, 3-4 years ago?
Cassie was gonna come forward.
So how'd you know? What'd you know about what Cat? Because
I wish
to hear
I could explain.
Yeah,
but if I explain how I knew Cassie was gonna come forward, that could hurt some people. Which is why the last time I sat on this blue couch, I said what I said. Congratulations, young Miami. Run as fast as Cassie did.
What about JayZ? Well, if you ask the singer and songwriter, he's no better either. He's just better at hiding it.
15 years to talk about it. What are your thoughts to that? To where they didn't talk about it then, but now when lawsuits come up,
why would they talk about it then?
A lawsuit is a lawsuit. I mean,
but why would they talk about it?
That's a good question.
Why would they talk about it? Who is there to go to? Who's gonna fucking help them? What HR department do you know of that works for any of these labels?
yeah.
When have you ever heard of a sexual harassment suit being publicly acknowledged in the entertainment industry at all? Never. Sports. Not in entertainment.
Tupac. That's all. Tupac. I remember that one. That was.
He was the only one.
Yeah.
He saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
No, guilty.
That's why they do it. To make you an example. To remind you what they're willing to do to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him. And so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
Jaguar Wright went ahead and claimed that several of the names in Lil Rod's 73-page court filing were redacted for a reason. She believes it's because the industry was set into a panic, and a lot of big names decided to work with the feds against Diddy.
Beating Rihanna, you know what I'm saying?
I don't understand why people keep talking about that. It was forever ago. They were both very young, and he had just had his first herpes outbreak from her giving him the herpes.
Ooh, my.
Like, how the you know what I mean? Like people don't understand what happened that night. And that's because Jay-Z worked so fucking hard to change the narrative of that night. Now, Rihanna was only 14, 15 when he started her and signed her to death jail. It's clear to say that the herpes that she had came from the person she had been most sexually involved with, and that was Sean Carter. Jay-Z gave her the herpes that she gave to Chris Brown. Busted into Clive Davis's house and said, "Where the is this dirty at?" I can't fault him for that.
Now, if you ask Jaguar, JayZ was the first one to run back to HQ. He couldn't risk losing his billionaire status, his decades-long professional career, and his personal life. So, while we all know that JayZ knows more than he's willing to say, we won't ever know if he struck a deal with the feds.
light, Jay.
But we can pretty much safely say at this point that Diddy's done for.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit in lately. Man, I just had like a 3.5 hour cry. Hold up, you know what I'm saying? Let that thing out. God will be right there, let you know. Come on, let's get up, let's go. But I had me a 3.5 hour cry. God is good.